We're going on air anyway in 17 minutes.
Yes, good morning to all our listeners.
Good morning, everyone.
This is Johnny Drill, and you're listening.
We're live. Good morning, everyone.
Business trends beyond
Morning.
Business Express on Smooth 98.1 in association with Stanbic IBTC. Stanbic IBTC. It can be.
Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. I'm Ayo Mairo-Ese. 6:30 a.m. Thursday, 29th of April, 2021. And it's time for today's edition of Business Express 981. I am Ayo Mairo-Ese. And with me is Rotus. Good morning, Rotus. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, Ayo. Good morning to you. Good morning to all our listeners, and good morning to our special guests.
Excellent. Our special guest is Dele Akintola, Head of Sub-Saharan Africa Equity Sales at Stanbic IBTC. Good morning, Dele.
Good morning, gentlemen, and good morning, SA. Nice to be
Welcome
back.
to the show. Good to have you back. All right, if you'd like to join the conversation this morning, you can do so by sending us a WhatsApp message, 0809 444 0981. We're going to be reviewing the market with Stanbic IBTC this morning. And if you'd like to ask a question or contribute to the conversation, you can also tweet at us at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag Business Express 981. We're also streaming live on YouTube, so you can go onto youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos. Rotus.
All right, thank you so much. I'm already getting messages about this since yesterday. So before we hop into the markets, Dele, help us out. There's some heavy drama, and I like to play this game with our listeners, and you know how this goes. There's been some heavy drama involving Nigeria's oldest bank with the elephant logo. Now the listeners will now start sending messages telling me which bank it is. I guess an appointment at the MD CEO level, an announcement was made yesterday, and then the CBN got involved. Can you help us understand what's happened over the last 24 hours?
Okay, thanks, Rotus. I think maybe if I let me stick to the facts. I think the facts here is that no announcement has been made formally by the bank. So the listed entity is FBN Holdings. One of the subsidiaries is First Bank of Nigeria. So if you look, for FBN Holdings to make a disclosure, they would need to send a letter to the NSC to publicly announce that the CEO of the bank is retiring. They will obviously probably need to also as well inform the central bank, right? What we know, right? And I say let's stick to the facts, is that a piece of paper that basically contained a press release on a blue piece of paper with no letterhead, no signature, was released yesterday. That's gone crazy on social media, which a lot of media houses have carried. Have reported a story that the CEO is retiring one way or the other with immediate effect. I imagine that the media houses have also done independent checks and verifications to find the authenticity of such news, right? But I'm just saying, I think just from where we sit today is that there hasn't been any official communication, right, through the right channels that such announcements should be made. Usually you'd get either such communication from either the communications team or marketing team of FBN Holdings or from investor relations, which you would definitely see on the stock exchange or the floor of the stock exchange. None of that has happened. So I guess it's fair to say that there hasn't been any announcement, but there's been media reports. Yeah.
Interesting.
Great way to address the issue, Dele. Thank you for that. Let's get to the markets, Dele. Stock market yesterday, Nigerian Stock Exchange fell by about 1.3%. How do you assess sentiments on the market? What's your take on what's been going on?
I think first things first. Yesterday, Dangote Cement, which is probably one of the largest market cap stocks on the market, was marked down for dividends yesterday. Usually when a stock like Dangote is marked down or goes down, right, it's very likely that the market will decline. But I think generally yesterday, all the counters, all traded in red. But I guess notably, if you look at last week there was a 5-day consistent run that happened. And I feel like ultimately, if you look at what's been going on, there's been an general increase in interest rates. It started off with the almost at 10%, and then you've seen the treasury bills as well start ticking up gradually. So what we've seen is that local investors have started looking for ways to reprice any sort of investments they have on their books, okay, to get better yield in the fixed income space. That's one. So number two, there's been a lot of bond offerings. So in the last 2 weeks, a couple of weeks, there's been the MTN bond for 115 billion. Currently open is the Dangote Cement bond as well for another 100, potentially 100 plus billion that is going to be scooped up. So I think local investors have their hands full, and obviously giving the local auctions as well. Just looking for they're looking for yield, and that's what they'll do. For international investors, I think that's probably what's speaking to the fact that the market has held its own relatively. International investors are reinvesting the dividends that they've earned post reporting season. Notably, we know that people have, investors have not been able to take money out of Nigeria since December. But in recent times, the central banks have started intervening in that market, by selling $20 million twice a week at anything between 4-10 to, there's a range of spots and forwards in order to try and start clearing the queue, the FX queue.
20 million or 20,000?
20 million. Twice
20 million, okay, fine.
I feel about 40 million a week.
Okay.
But we still have a rough guesstimate that there's still about $2 billion of potential FPI money that needs to get out of Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Is this a dip investors should take advantage of as far as what we saw yesterday?
I would always say to people that you need to first of all define your investment strategy. If you are, and everyone will have an investment strategy. So if you are a trader, this is not the year to trade or speculate on the market if you're not sure where the market is going. If you are a long-term holder of equity, there is clearly going to be obviously interesting points where some of these stocks might potentially be offering interesting price levels to enter. But I think that is, again, for stock pickers, it's one of the things that I like to see trends. So I like to see what the market will do first half, first quarter, second half. But so far so good. I think that you would find new entry levels to pick up equity. But I still sort of believe that the market as a whole might potentially do between 0 to 10% up this year. I think I'm still quite optimistic that we might still be able to close the year in a positive note. Not an aggressive finish, but I think we might be able to at least hold our own this year.
All right, so certainly nothing like the 50% we saw last year.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you about the money market, the auction we saw yesterday, the T-bill auction. What's your take? I think 364 days at 9% now. So how did you see the auction?
Well, not much. The 1 year money was at 9%, right? So what you're seeing is that it's now at 9.75. From conversations with locals, I think there's a general expectation that interest rates should go higher. Okay, and obviously that the government is willing to borrow. So you would see that portfolio managers will potentially be bidding higher at these auctions, right? To try and force the hand of the government to pay a higher price for these instruments. I guess, I almost feel like there's a theoretical cap of about 10%, given as where the almost are. And I guess that was what triggered the fact that people started asking for higher rates, is that if you can offer 10% on the almost, why can't you offer us 10% on the T-bills? So I guess the question for me here is does the treasury bill rate now, does it run ahead of the OMO? That is something that I'm looking, we would be watching out for to see how that sort of plays out by the next couple of auctions. So
All right, we have a question here.
If I was on the Nigerian side, I'd be asking for those rates as well. Go ahead, Ayo.
All right, so Dele, Frank is asking you if you see NT bills reaching a stop rate 10% ahead of automobiles.
Well, that's what he just mentioned. Go ahead,
Okay,
Dele.
so can you just touch on it a bit more? Yeah, he's just asked. Maybe he needs.
Yeah, so I mean, so the almost at sort of 10.10%, right? And I said that, so that was what obviously started driving interest rates up when it happened a couple of months ago. So I guess for me, I feel like will the treasury bill rates run ahead of the almost? I think it's something that we would like to see, but I feel like that sort of sets a sort of a cap or threshold that they potentially will not want to breach. I think it's also important to go back a few months or early in the year when the central bank was speaking. They were talking about monetary and fiscal collaboration and consolidation. And what they were basically trying to say is that they intend to borrow more this year, but however, they would love to continue to borrow cheaply as they had last year. So I'm quite surprised that the rates have inched up very quickly over a short period of time. I actually thought that things will not move up this fast, but I think the moment the central bank moved the OMO rates to 10.10, right? I think it just sort of opened the floodgates. So it's we will wait and see how that plays out.
Fantastic. Dale, we've only got a few more minutes. I want to quickly touch on your most recent from a salesman newsletter. You had a number of telco updates. One, the bids for some telcos wanting to get into Ethiopia's market, Airtel's $500 million, I think, a loan facility, and then also a relatively upbeat valuation of MTN Ghana. How do you view the telcos long-term for investors? Are they the future? So looking at telcos, and are they threatening banks? What do you think, real quick?
I mean, I think for all of those questions, that's probably a yes. Ethiopia is a large untapped market, strong 100 million people. So there's a clear market there, right? And you probably know Ethiopia is not an open market. So there's no stock exchange there. They also have currency restrictions, there's a lot of Chinese that, I've been there like twice, so a lot of Chinese there. So, but a lot of businesses, right, that have the stomach for it, want to sort of go and tap that Ethiopia market for the population size that exists there. So a lot of Safaricom, MTN, some of these telcos have wanted to break into that market if the regulator would allow or regulation would allow. So I guess there's an opportunity here, and I guess they would, through local partnership, they would try and enter the market and see what it has to offer. But I guess that's probably a golden gem that needs to, and I think Ethiopia needs it, right? Ultimately, I guess when you look at Airtel, Airtel is obviously looking to spin off its mobile money business ultimately, and I guess you look at all these fintechs and all these telco fintech plays, they're raising money at ridiculous levels. So it's only logical that you can strip out that payment, that agency business, mobile money business, and try and list it on its own to raise capital and just maximize value for shareholders. And clearly,
yeah. Even for MTN, I read I think it was a Bloomberg article that MTN had valued their mobile business at $5 billion. So we're seeing this with these big players.
Exactly. So you said that the multiple that would be attached to that sort of mobile money business and payments platform will be significantly higher than even the listed entity, that which is the traditional telco business, right? So what would be the right thing to do? If you have a great business under your entire platform, what you need to do is strip it out, right, and try and list it standalone. So investors can look at that product in isolation and price it according to the way transactions are being priced within that space, and that is what everybody's trying to maximize value for shareholders.
Fantastic. We're going to do an hour because when we have Dele on, he keeps giving us juicy stuff. You guys,
maximize your time. You have 1 minute. Maximize.
Views from a salesman. You guys, if you can get access
but yeah,
to that.
Excellent, excellent as always, Dele. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great stuff. Once again, go ahead, Ayo. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, Dele, someone's asking Matthew actually, how do I know more about stock exchange markets? I have just a smattering in this aspect of business. What do you recommend?
I think what I was just telling you, is to get in stock. He needs to get a stockbroker. At Stanbic, we have a stockbroking arm, which is where I work at. So if he always wants to get involved in the stock market, he needs to get in touch with his stockbroker, potentially get in touch with us, and we can obviously talk him through how to navigate the markets.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, that's all we have for today. Rotus, we still have 15 minutes. Hopefully, if you make a case, we might review your time, or if our sponsors are willing to take it up a notch. Why not?
Exactly.
All right, thank you so much indeed. We've been
once again, Dele Akintola, head Sub-Saharan equity sales at Stanbic IBTC. Dele, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dele, and thanks, Rotus.
Thank
you can find Rotus at Rotanquote on Twitter. Now, you can watch a replay of today's program in case you tuned in a bit later on our YouTube channel. So youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos, and it's simply titled Market Review with Stanbic IBTC. You can easily track and watch again. All right, join us at 7:30 for today's edition of Freshly Pressed 981. We're going to be reviewing today's biggest stories, headline stories around the country. Do stay tuned. In the meantime, enjoy some smooth music here on Smooth 98.1. All right, thank you all so much for tuning in. See you at 7:30 for Freshly